Hi, this is Erin from Live and Learn. At Live and Learn, our mission is to empower women to break the cycle of generational poverty. So what comes to mind when someone says poverty? Many of us have some idea that we think of when we hear that word, but there are actually many types of poverty. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the 6 most common types of poverty: rural, urban, absolute, relative, situational, and generational. The first type of poverty we'll look at is rural poverty. Rural poverty rates have been growing steadily in the United States for the past 60 years. The challenge is getting services to people in rural areas. In rural areas, people have less access to health care, to educational and employment opportunities. In recent decades, things like telemedicine and online education have helped, but we still need to drastically expand internet access to rural areas of the United States. The second type of poverty we'll look at is urban poverty. People in urban poverty face a multitude of chronic acute stressors like crowding, noise, violence. There are services available to address this type of poverty, but these services are almost never able to meet the demand. Live and Learn is based in Phoenix, Arizona, the 5th largest city in the United States, and we see this problem of urban poverty every day. Those who need help often don't receive adequate services. The third type of poverty is absolute poverty. This is a lack of the most basic necessities: food, water, shelter. Someone experiencing absolute poverty is focused on daily survival and little else. The fourth type of poverty is relative poverty. This is when someone's income is insufficient compared to the standard of living of the society around them. So when service sector workers have to travel long distances to get to work because they can't afford housing anywhere near where they work, or when teachers have to take weekend jobs just to make ends meet, we see the large-scale negative ramifications of relative poverty. The fifth type of poverty is situational poverty. When we talk about poverty in the United States, this is often what we're talking about. Situational poverty occurs when something happens that plunges someone into poverty. Something happens that destabilizes a person. Maybe it's a divorce, a natural disaster, a health crisis or injury, a layoff. When someone falls into situational poverty, they lack the resources to meet their basic needs. They may use up their savings, lose their home, go into debt. They often need a helping hand to get back on their feet. Isn't that how we so often think of poverty? Provide a boost to help a person get back on their feet. But let's take a look at the 6th type of poverty: generational poverty. Generational poverty happens when at least 2 generations of a family have been born into poverty. Poverty becomes part of the fabric of the family, and often of entire neighborhoods. Growing up in generational poverty affects children's emotional, physical, and cognitive development, and it limits their lifelong educational and professional attainment. Only 16% of children born into poverty ever rise out. That's our brief introduction to the 6 primary types of poverty: rural, urban, absolute, relative, situational, and generational. I hope this video helped to show that poverty is so much more complicated than we often think. At Live and Learn, we focus on generational poverty, which is under-recognized and commonly misunderstood. We'll dive more deeply into that in future videos. Visit our website to find out how you can help empower women to break the cycle of generational poverty.